All right, guys, welcome back to the Game Trail Podcast. It's the first of a brand new year, 2026, which personally I'm pretty excited about. I'm trying to be excited about it, trying to keep my enthusiasm up. And I guess I should hit promo code before we really dive in. So you guys can use the promo code Game Trail. That's one word. You can use that when you sign up for a GOHUNT Insider account. If you do that, you can get 50 points back in the GOHUNT Gear Shop, which is $50 towards the purchase of any gear that you want in the shop, including Peaks equipment. If you guys wanted to buy some new Peak stuff in the gear shop, you can definitely put that $50 towards some new gear. So use that promo code, sign up for an insider account, get yourself some money. Also, shout out to Matthews Archery, the sponsor of the podcast. I've been out shooting my bow. I shot yesterday. I shot terribly yesterday, so that was a little embarrassing. But I think that's just mostly me. But I got some work to do. But today I got a guest on. I got my buddy Dave Brinker on. I reached out to Dave, I think maybe first part of last week, and asked Dave to come on. And Dave's a friend of mine. Dave's a good dude, but I don't know. I always think of Dave. I guess maybe I thought of Dave because I was thinking about New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to lead with a little bit of a story, and hopefully I don't embarrass him too much. But
embarrass
me. I remember talking to you. I ran into you last year at the Western Hunt Expo. And I walked away from that, and I was telling Brady the other day about it, but I was like, man, it just like, I've known you for a while. We've known each other for a long time, and we've had you on the podcast and we've hunted together. But I remember just thinking, man, Dave looks so good. Like last year when I talked to you at the Hunt Expo, you just looked good, man. You looked healthy. You looked like you were in a great space. Mentally, I remember talking to you and just thinking how upbeat and positive and just optimistic you felt and seemed. And I thought since we're moving into a new year, it'd be a good time to have a conversation. Because like I said, when I ran into you last year, it left like a pretty lasting impression. And I also wanted to talk to you about your elk hunt. So you killed a great bull this year, Rosie, right?
No, it was a Rocky. It looked like a Rosie, really? But it was a Rocky. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I wanted to hear about your elk hunt, but I guess to get started, how you been? How's your outlook going into a new year?
I've been great, man. And thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I try to exude that energy. You know, it's not always there for myself every day that you saw last year at Expo, but yeah, I feel great, man. 2025 was, every time someone asks me how I'm doing, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's a very fair question, but it's hard to answer because as we all know, life is extremely messy, and I'm great, but that doesn't mean 2025 wasn't full of challenges.
For sure.
But every year is. But I just find, because I turned 45 this year, I just find that every year I seem to get a little happier the older I get. I wish I could transfer my mentality to my 25-year-old self. Even though I feel like the problems you face when you get to be our age are bigger, I feel like my optimism goes up, which is kind of weird. It doesn't seem like it should work that way. Like when you're 25 and healthy and you really don't have any real problems yet, you kind of, I don't know, you don't take advantage of it as much as you should, but I don't know, maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Hindsight, right? You look back and you're like, man, I had the whole world by the tail. I had all the youth and exuberance of youth, and you know, the physical side of things, you know, felt better. Felt like recovery was not even an issue whatsoever. But you kind of lack some of the ability to just understand, like the wisdom, I guess is maybe the word.
Yeah. And even in my hunting life, it's, I'm just so much more mature now, the way I enter every day in the woods. And, you know, again, it's not short of days where I feel like I'm just a total failure, but I guess I just look at things a little bit more. I try to look at them more intelligently, whether I'm hunting or doing whatever in business or personal life, and just kind of try to enjoy things a little bit more. Because now, my wife and I were just talking about this. We were just with some friends the other night. One of my friends has heart disease, and he's like my age, and he's healthy. He's just genetics, right? Yep. And we were on our in the car coming back, and my wife and I were talking. It's like, yeah, I guess this is the age where we start hearing about our friends' health problems, or we have health problems, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I as you were talking a little bit, you talk about the question of like somebody's like, hey, how are you? Right. And as you were talking, the kind of the things that were jumping in the back of my head, I've kind of been thinking moving into a new year. I set some resolutions. I want to ask you about resolutions, if you're big on resolutions, and what kind of, if you have set some, I'd be interested in what yours are, and maybe just kind of working through them. But in regards to that question, like, how are you? I've been thinking, like, is there something to like faking it till you make it, right? Because there's days where somebody would be like, hey, how's your day today? How's things? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really having that great of a day. You know what I mean? Like things are just not going that great. And, of course you just say, yeah, I'm okay. And yeah, things are good. But I'm really considering like moving into this new year. I'm trying to reframe. I'm working a lot right now. It's like forefront of my mind of like trying to reframe I have the decision I get to decide like whether I'm optimistic or pessimistic about the day. And as I move forward, and sometimes I feel like, man, I'm kind of pessimistic about whatever it might be. And I'm wondering, can you fake it till you make it? Any thoughts on that? Does that pop into your head?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think as long as you're honest with yourself a little bit, like there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm doing great, man. Like a smile on your face. I don't know. I have a new hobby over the last few years. I go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my coach he owns multiple businesses too. And we've kind of become friends. We're personal friends too, but like we always are like confiding in each other for entrepreneurial advice. Sure. And every time I go to class, I say, Johnny, how you doing? And he always goes, better than I deserve, like that. Yeah. And it always reminds me, like, it's kind of like smiling after getting punched in the balls, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I think you're right, but I think also it's okay to be honest with yourself if you're struggling with something, because a lot of times you might be struggling with something for a reason that needs to be handled. Sure. So there's a balance of honesty, but also just, I grew up, my dad's like a super optimist, in every regard, like hyper optimist. So I tend to be way more on the optimistic side. Like I know people that are just lifelong cynics and critics, and I love them, but I have a hard time. I have a hard time spending too much time talking to them, because I'm like, dude, gosh, talk about a negative view of the world, man. Like that's not going to get you real far. So I don't know. Like, and when I'm doing hard things, whether that be bow hunting or whatever, I try to maintain, I work really, 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 especially after, when you're super sleep deprived and things aren't going well. And I try really, really hard to not let myself fall into the negative and just, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, this trail, like maybe we've talked about this before. I talk about it all the time. It's like, in order to be a bow hunter, you have to have a level of unhealthy optimism. Because every day you wake up, you're most likely and statistically going to fail miserably. At least the average bow hunter, but even the really great bow hunters like yourself, spend most of their days failing and then eventually figure out a way to make it work out. Right. So I feel like we naturally have to have this I won't call it unhealthy, but like maybe a delusional version of reality in our head. Like, yeah, yesterday sucked. I shot over a buck or whatever, but every hill I go over now, it could be the greatest hunt of my life, and all it takes is 1 minute or 5 seconds or 30 seconds. So I kind of try to transfer that into life too. Like, yeah, things suck now, but the next idea, the next phone call, the next whatever could be the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how, when I'm hunting, I don't question it hardly ever anymore. It's just like, I think that probably a lot of that comes from experience, where it's just like, I know that this thing I'm trying to do is possible because I've done it before. And if I just keep at it enough, I'm going to get opportunities and it'll work out. In life, just like general situations, whether it's relationships or fitness or whatever it might be, or my diet, I don't know that I've gained, even though I'm 46 at this point, I've gained quite the level of like confidence and stick-to-itiveness with some things that I probably have in hunting, which is interesting. A lot of that just comes from experience. And I think I mean, it rolls downhill, right? Like you get experience and you gain momentum and you move on, and it becomes a system rather than just like a single act of willpower day in and day out. And I think eventually you get kind of a habit built in. But
Totally.
um, yeah. Do you set New Year's Are you big on New Year's resolutions? Do you do that at all?
No, not really. Two answers. I'm big on making changes in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if that needs to be driven by New Year's, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I'm not big on changes that aren't sustainable. And I think people tend to set New Year's resolutions that are like they just go they really want to make a change. They know something's wrong, whether that be their fitness or whatever, and they almost overdo it. Like I'm never going to like I'm going full carnivore for the rest of my life, or I'm going to I'm going to start CrossFitting even though I've never done it. I'm going to and that's I mean, look, I get it. But what's better is if you find a way to, eat the elephant one bite at a time. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're overweight, it takes, if you do it without medication and these other things that are available now, like to get in shape takes a few months or 6 months or longer if you do it correctly and sustainably. And if you think about it, like goals are really only worthwhile if they're sustainable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
or like big changes in life. Like I'll use the example of drinking, right? There's look, I like a beer or a glass of wine just as much as anybody. And but I realized a long time ago it doesn't do a lot of good for me, and plus my body doesn't really like it very much. So,
Mm-hmm.
about 20 years ago, after spending 10 years drinking 4 nights a week, when I was young, I really just kind of cut it mostly out of my life. Now I have a really healthy relationship with alcohol that's
Mm-hmm.
sustainable. I didn't go, I'm never, ever, ever, ever drinking again. Well, I might have said that a couple times, but really, I figured out a way to, and sometimes I'll take a total year off or 6 months off or whatever, and maybe I'll go out with my wife and have a glass of wine. But I figured out a sustainable relationship with it that's pretty healthy. Fitness, I tried everything, and I finally think I figured out my system. And it's not everybody else's system, but it's something I know I can do week in and week out. And that's basically 2 nights of jujitsu, which is good for cardio and mental training. And this is in the off season of hunting, because during hunting season, everything changes basically.
Mm-hmm.
But during the off season, 2 nights of jujitsu, uh, 2 days of like weights. I try to walk every day, at least 10,000 steps. And then, that's about it. So like, basically it's like 4 days of pretty intense training and then every day walk. And like diet wise, like I'm not on any diet.
Mm-hmm.
I do watch my macros, which I found to be the most sustainable thing to do. My buddy I train with taught me how to do that. But it's not like you're not on a diet. It's really portion control and like watching like how much protein you're getting, how many carbs you're getting, how much. And after a while, I don't even need the app to do it. I can pretty much tell you like what I'm getting every day.
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm on a constant journey to find systems that I can repeat
Mm-hmm.
and that aren't one-offs, because every time I've tried to go overboard, you just hit a wall, dude. You get tired, you burn out. So
Yeah.
that's the way that I look at it.
It wasn't that way always for you though, right? I feel like this is newer, maybe in your life in the last maybe what 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, for sure, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, I have every slip up that you could have. I have all the same temptations as everybody.
Sure. How
But
did you start? Was there like a trip, a trigger that tripped for you? And that's the interesting thing to me about New Year's and New Year's resolutions and any kind of resolution, any kind of goal. It's funny. I always think how interesting it is that there's really no difference between December 31st and January 1st, right? It's the same day. It's going to come just like any other day. There's no difference between it and, July 1st and July 2nd, right? It's the same. But there's like this mental thing that somehow you can trick yourself into like, hey, this is a new year. It's a new beginning. We think the same thing, maybe a Monday, right? Or whatever it is. But I'm curious. I'm really curious in the psychology of that and like
Mhm.
how it worked for you. Like, how
Uh,
did you get into
yeah,
that?
the best life changes that have ever happened to me have all been a result of health scares.
Really?
Yep. So I can think of I can think of 3 or 4 instances in my life where I had a health scare. The first one was when I was 24 and I'd been drinking so much. I had fatty liver disease.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, dude, you can't, you're like, for alcohol does not like your body, or, you know, the other way around. That kind of changed my whole perspective on alcohol. I had another example a couple years ago. Actually, it was about a year and a half ago. I had a neurological scare, where I thought I had like a neurological disease. It turned out to be kind of just this stupid disease that means nothing, doesn't really even hurt you, but it's annoying. But you know, you go down, and then I had a little cancer scare, which ended up not being cancer. Anyways, the point is like, as you get older, you realize that you're kind of, you know, health stuff happens. And I just decided I listen to a lot of podcasts too. I listen to a lot of stuff on longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And during those instances, I thought, man, I got to be around for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to die early. I want to, like, I don't even know what I'm going to do when I grow up yet, you know? So, whatever I can do now that buys me more time later is kind of my mission. Look, I love looking good for my wife or whatever. I like feeling good, but at the end of the day, if I can buy myself some more years, that's the old, it's kind of like a savings account. Like, you want to spend it, right? But you keep, you know, every day a little workout, maybe it adds a day to your life, or a half day, or maybe not, but at least I think it does. And so I'd like to be like, you know who Larry D. Jones is, Trail?
Yeah, of course.
You know, Larry, I don't know how old he is, but I think he's in his mid to upper 80s. And, you know, he still bow hunts every year. And I've always found that like pretty inspiring. Like, that's pretty cool. Cause if you think about it, like, I'm 45, and I don't know, forgive me if we've ever talked about this, but I've done the math before on how many Septembers I get when you include, you know, maybe a September you got to miss because something happens in your family, you know, sickness, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you start counting those days, and you actually, and then you boil it down to how many encounters with elk you get per year. And then you times that. Dude, it gets real fast, right? So you go, well, it's worth it. It's worth it to not beat the shit out of your body, but like, keep it healthy, because it pays off later. And so you're not one of those dudes that's like, oh, I can't get out anymore, and you're 56, right? And that would suck. To me, that sounds like a living version of hell.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my dad, he's had, I think, 6 back surgeries in the last year and a half. You know, he's lost a lot of his mobility, and and I was telling my wife, I'm like, man, if I ever get to a point where I just don't have the physicality, you know, I'm going to really struggle, because it's like so much what I value, right? In life is just my ability to go out and hunt and hike, or, you know, go for a run or jump on the treadmill with a pack on and do some miles. And yeah, I would really struggle, I think. I was listening recently to a podcast, and they were talking about, you know, the kind of the pillars of performance, whether it's like mental, physical, you kind of have to have all these spiritual. He was also talking about like having a purpose, like a lifelong, you know, purpose, like a purpose bigger than any and all things, like just your run of the mill goals. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, do I have a purpose? Like, what's my purpose, you know? And I don't know if elk hunting is, I don't know if you could really call that a purpose, but it has been in my mind of thinking. I've been really dwelling recently on, like, what is my actual purpose? What do I want my purpose to be?
That's really interesting. I've been thinking about a lot of the same things, Trail. Like, you know, I've had some stressful events happen this year that made me question my faith, you know, and I'm not like a super religious person. I consider myself to believe in bigger things, but I don't necessarily fall into a certain religion. But that is a really good question, because at the end of the day, like, I don't know if I don't want to turn my camera, but probably just like you, I got mountains of antlers sitting in my office with me right now, and mounts, and I can look at them and reminisce on the story, and like, it's amazing, right? They're trophies. They're things that bring back the memories or whatever. But someday these are all going to be in a storage unit somewhere, and no one's going to know what those stories are.
Yep.
And I know this because it happened to my grandpa. My grandpa had a whole huge building full of huge mule deer, right? I don't even know where any of those are now. I think they might have got sold to a wedding company or an event company. Like, and so I think that can't be the purpose. Like, yes, they bring in these stories and these experiences bring me enjoyment and fulfillment in like a life full of suffering and pain, like that we all have to live, right? Like
Yep.
it's a huge blessing that I get to go do these things. But at the end of the day, someday all of these accomplishments will be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them, other than after like my kids' generation, let's say it. So I go, okay, so that can't be the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I feel you.
So what is the point? And I always fall back on, I mean, as a dad,
Yep.
it's creating good humans.
For
And
sure.
if my accomplishments help push my kids to use their life to help other people, like, or, I mean, I should say that, like, push themselves to be the best versions of themselves,
Yep.
then my accomplishments have done their job. They don't need to be like, I don't need, that's the only legacy I really need. I'm not trying to be famous in some museum or something. You know, it's like, as long as I'm famous in my kids' minds and it helps them
Mm-hmm.
push themselves,
Yeah.
I think I won. Right.
Yeah.
And, and then the next purpose above that would be like, I don't know if, you know, it's maybe people's faith would be the next
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's like the highest purpose is to serve their God or whatever. But that gets into a whole nother dimension of conversation for sure. But I think that's a question everybody should answer. But that's what I come back to, Trail. Is like, okay, I need to be a good dad. And
Yep.
if being a good dad is showing my kids that I did hard things and I was successful at doing those hard things, then my example of that hard thing is hunting and maybe a couple other things. Maybe it's writing a song.
Mm-hmm.
But the point was to show the kids you got to do hard things. Otherwise, you're not going to be the best version of yourself. For them, it might be football or painting or whatever. But I think that was my job. And
Yeah.
then my great grandkids maybe someday will be like, oh yeah, remember when they used to hunt? And there was this thing called public land. And then,
Yeah.
but anyways, that's the way I look at it. I don't know what you think.
No, that's a great take, man. And I don't know that I even had an answer, to be honest. I was curious as to your take because it's something I've been struggling with myself. I'm with you. I don't know if you call it a faith crisis, if you will, or what, but I don't really know what I believe, to be honest, in regards to faith and spirituality. And it's something that, you know, I've wrestled with over the last probably 5 or 10 years, maybe more, like more intensely, I would say. And I don't know that I've made any progress one way or the other, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really, like, it's not something that I spend tons of time thinking about anymore, but it's certainly not like this driving force in my life where I'm like, this is my purpose. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad. I don't know, but, I have been, you know, continually thinking more recently, I would say, like, what is my, you know, like, what is the purpose? What's the purpose of all this? Right. And I think, I'm with you. I was curious to ask you that question because I wanted to hear what you had to say. And, you know, as you're talking, you know, it resonates with me. My kids are getting older. So I've got a 20, a 16 and a 12-year-old. You know, and I thought raising kids was hard when they were younger, but man, when as they're turning into adults and they're starting to have to make and pursue decisions that they will, you know, it's going to dictate and kind of be big decisions on who they become as adults. Like, that's a whole other stage of trying to parent and mentor and guide. And what you said resonates with me because, yeah, if anything I can pass along, you know, I hope that my kids find fulfillment and they find happiness and they find, you know, joy in the pursuit of something that they find valuable and worthwhile. For me, it's been, for most of my adult lifetime, it's been, you know, hunting. It's been something that has given me great satisfaction and also taught me a lot. And I wouldn't say that that is my purpose, but maybe the pursuit of, those things that I enjoy have given me the ability to maybe guide my kids. And if on the backside of it, hopefully it helps them find something, some sort of passion or some sort of drive into that they can pour their time and energy into something that gives them fulfillment. So I don't know. It's an interesting.
And I think, we often underestimate as people with platforms, the impact that you have on other people. I'm sure a lot of people listen to your podcast and follow you on all the things you do. I mean, I know the one hunt I spent with you, I was inspired by your skill set and your outlook and your attitude. And I learned things on those. That's one of the biggest blessings I've had from being in this industry for the last 20 years is in terms of my hunting, getting to spend time around people that have helped me become not only a better hunter, but like a better man. And I think, you probably underestimate that, even though it's a thankless job, right? Because most of the time you're not going to talk to these people that you're impacting, and I don't think about that a lot because I struggle with looking at myself that way. But I can tell you, I haven't been doing my podcast, and I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me or walked out to me. Hey, when are you going to start doing the podcast? I'm like, you really listen to that?
Yeah.
Really? You listen to my podcast? You literally give a shit about what I said? Cause that's how I feel. And, but you do impact people. You do impact people.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think that when you get to, especially when you get to the level at something that you are, which is, the highest level of hunterdom, in my opinion, because whether you like it or not, you're a professional hunter. And when you get to be at that level of something, there's a lot of people, even though that you're there, you're at this place, that it's not the main purpose of life, right? That when you get there, it doesn't solve all human problems. And it's not like, oh, I've made it, therefore I've figured out all of life. That. But a lot of people need that journey and that quest to get where you are, to give them something that like a purpose and a voyage and a story to follow. It gives them meaning in their life. And similar to how it gives your kids something to strive for. I don't know. This is just something I've thought about a lot. You don't realize the impact you have on people. And that's everybody. Everybody does. Even if you don't have a podcast or you're not this or that, if one of us were to die today, there'd be a lot of people at your funeral. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know they actually liked me, So you can't underestimate the impact you have on other people too.
Yeah, no, I get the messages. I actually did a lot of thinking about this too. It is my purpose to pass on, knowledge, mentorship, give somebody the ability to maybe acquire a skill or start something that then becomes something in their life that they really value. And I think there's purpose in that. It's not like this tangible thing that I think about all the time. You know what I mean? I look at it more like it's my career. I work at GOHUNT, and it pays my mortgage and my car payments, and it helps put my kids through activities and does that kind of thing. And if I think about it, I get down to brass tacks. I'm like, yeah, that's why I do what I do. Right. But, I do get those messages, and I have those interactions with people, whether it's at a show or, they pop into the showroom when I'm in Vegas and they say, hey man, you really helped me on this and that. And I get that and I understand it. I guess I wish that there was a way for some reason or some way for that to be more tangible, it would feel good. And that's selfish probably for me to say, but
I don't think so.
It
does feel good. It makes you, dude, it feels good to, many people smarter than you or I have said that. That's one of the most fulfilling things in life is to help other people. Yeah. Even though because it's kind of weird because hunting in many ways is a very selfish endeavor. Because oftentimes if you're like me, we do it alone. Yep. And you can't really translate the potent experience that you had into any words. Even if you video it, it doesn't do it justice. And so I think about my grandpa again, right? He probably had so many stories to tell, so many amazing experiences. They passed away with him. He didn't write them
Yeah.
down. So some of the things we do are they could be defined as selfish, but I think sharing that knowledge, like you talking about, and telling the stories through your platform. This used to be a campfire, right? This used to be a campfire.
Right.
It's just recently, these are microphones and cameras and stuff. But stories have helped people for millennia. Like stories are like living vicariously through other people's stories, and knowledge is like how we are meant to be as human beings. And it does, there's no question it helps other people. It also helps ourselves, because speaking and like talking through our knowledge and our experiences also helps us become better, right? You have to you have to articulate that knowledge. You got to write it down. You got to write it. You got to think through it. Like you're getting smart in the meantime, and then also reliving your stories, which I know you're going to ask me about elk hunting. Like I can't wait to talk about elk season, because I haven't talked about it in a couple months. And I often go back in my phone, like when I don't know if I've had a rough day or if I'm just bored, I'll go back and watch all my videos on my phone from the season. Some of my favorite ones are like recovery, because recovering the animal that you worked all season to get is one of the greatest moments of your season. Like just seeing that you made a good shot, it's done. Whew. So I need to relive those stories too, for my own mental state.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great tip. I like that. Yeah, good. I wanted to ask you a little bit about like going back a little bit to like, for lack of a better, new year, new me. Everybody loves that, right? But I was talking to Brady about accountability and the part that it plays in trying to like achieve some new system, right? And I'm not going to call it a resolution or a goal, because I really think that in order to be successful, and it has to become like a system, right? You've got a plan, and it has to become your new norm. I know that accountability plays a role in that, and it was interesting in talking to Brady. We were talking about this external accountability. I know that he posts every day. I know a lot of people that post every day, whether it's like fitness or whatever it might be, this goal that they're working towards. And they use, social media as a form of like accountability. I'm not good at that, nor will I ever be. Like, I'm never going to post, me on a treadmill or me out running as my form of accountability. It's just not who I am. I don't like it. I was curious as to you, like, what does accountability mean to you in regards to, building a system? And, if you're not somebody that wants to put all that out there, like, how do you hold yourself accountable?
So I think there's a couple of things that I would say. And it starts with a question. What makes you shoot your bow every day?
I just love it.
But why do you,
I love the way that it makes me feel.
Okay, that's good, but we'll leave that aside. But what else? Why do you want to be proficient at shooting your bow?
Yeah, because I want to make the best shot. I think I owe it to the animal, right? So that's part of it.
So you have a higher purpose beyond the way it makes you feel to shoot your bow. Like you want to be an expert at your weapon, because it means so much to you to be able to perform when you go do this thing you love, right? I don't think you can have discipline, and we'll leave accountability aside for a second, but I don't think you can have discipline without a clear high-level goal. At least I can't. So like, I'll give you an example. I always try to have, like with fitness specifically, I always try to have some horizon I'm working towards. Like that could be a half marathon. It could be a jiu-jitsu tournament. It could be, I want to make a certain weight. It could be, I want a six pack, whatever the thing is. I have to have that target at the end of the range. Now, once that target is at the end of the range, I find it way easier to break it down and be disciplined over time. If I have no target that I'm shooting for, then where's the reward? There's no reward system, right? Like, so I have to, point number one, I have to have a carrot at the end of the stick. I have to have the reward system ahead. And it could be something simple, dude. Like this last winter, I wanted to hit 160. Like I wanted to get down to 160, but I didn't want to do it in a artificial way, and I wanted to do it with lean muscle. And it took me like 3 or 4 months to get there. But I did it, and I checked my weight all the time, and I built a system. Now, the second thing I would say, discipline, accountability. Accountability. Some people do need like a friend that says, "Hey, dude, we go to the gym twice a week. Like, don't be there. Get your ass out of bed." I haven't found that to work great for me because, well, first of all, I don't have a huge community where I live. I have a few friends, but I don't like, our schedules are too busy.
Sure.
The only way that I've found to have success that for sure people don't want to hear is you have to be disciplined and accountable to yourself. Like, and that's hard. You know, they say who you really are is what you do when you're by yourself.
Yep.
Like, that's so true. You have to be accountable to yourself. So once I have that target at the end of the range and I know what I'm going for, and I try to do it like every 6 months, like I've actually been struggling a little bit with this last few weeks because I don't want to make it a weight. I got to figure out something. Maybe I'll do another jiu-jitsu tournament this spring or something, but I actually do know what my goal is. I started playing golf again last year, Trail. When I was younger, I was a really good golfer, and my kid's into it now, and he's really getting really good. So I actually, last summer, I played a few tournaments, and so I'm going to play a couple really big tournaments this summer. So my goals are more on that side, getting my body and my mind ready for that.
Nice.
But once I have those goals, I'm pretty good. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I'm pretty disciplined. Like, I can, if I say I'm going to jiu-jitsu tonight, I'm going to jiu-jitsu tonight, even if I don't feel like it. And you have to find the same thing you do when you have the last 500 feet up a mountain and there's a bull bugling up there and you have no energy and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. You have to find that second gear, and you have to figure out how to do things when you don't want to do them. And you have to be able to tap into that probably like 3 or 4 days a week, because New Year's resolutions work really good when you're like stoked about it. You're well rested from Christmas. You've ate a lot of food and you're like, God dang, I'm going to get shredded. They work great. But then a couple weeks in, you get tired.
Yeah.
And your mind starts saying, what if you didn't go today? What if you ate some ice cream? What if whatever? And you have to learn to, that's actually when it actually matters, right? It doesn't matter. The first day of the hunt doesn't matter that much. It's how hard are you hunting on day 10? And how are you pushing through that moment? That's what you have to transfer to, whether it's a fitness goal or a diet goal or a professional goal or whatever it is. This is something I've struggled with, but I think I'm getting pretty good at it, man. Like I can find that gear when my mind is screaming at me to not find the gear. And I also know when to rest. Like sometimes your mind's screaming at you for a reason. Like you literally shouldn't do anything. Happened to me yesterday. I took a nap. I'm like, I want to go to the gym, but I'm just not going to. And I looked at my Whoop and I was like 50% recovery. I've been traveling and in meetings, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm tired. I'm not doing it today. So
yeah. And then on the backside of that, you have to be willing to like give yourself a little bit of understanding and grace. Like I'm understanding that with my diet. So I'm like one of those people where like my diet's never been great. You know, I'm trying to clean it up a little bit. I've had, over the last week or something, a couple times where I've slipped. And I think normally I'd have been like, man, the wheels, they're off the bus, right? Like I would beat myself up. I'm trying to like give myself a little bit of grace and realize that like, you know what, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean anything. It's a brand new day, new dawn. Try and, make a better decision the next time. And then one of the other things, and I talked about it on our other podcast, but like, I'm really trying to reframe, who I think I am. So I know who I am. Nobody knows yourself better than you. You kind of know your insecurities, and you know what you're not good at, and you know what you're good at. You kind of inherently know who you are, but I'm trying to really work on reframing who I believe I am and really becoming who I want to be through reframing who I think I am. Does that make sense? I'm trying to begin to make decisions, the little decisions, like the little ones, like not eating ice cream or not eating a cookie. And over time, becoming the person that I would like to be, but like I am this person now, and I've made all the decisions along the way, and that's who I am now. I don't eat the ice cream. I don't skip workouts. I go and I run, or I go and I ruck, because that's just who I am and what I do. And I think that's why I've been thinking like this, it maybe not fake it till I make it, but like I think you make those little decisions one at a time, and then over, you know, years and years and years, obviously I think you develop more discipline, but then I think, you become who you think you want to be through small decisions one at a time.
Yeah, you're right. And that's something that should be highlighted. It's the small things that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be these. That's the other, I think, problem with New Year's resolutions, as in the traditional sense.
Yep.
They're grandiose. They're too big.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
too big.
If you break down how anything really works in this world, like, don't look at Instagram, right? There's no get rich quick. There's no get fit quick. There's no, I mean, even if you look at like Ozempic and things like that, which a lot of people are using, and for some people they're great. But the problem for the people that don't like truly have diabetes and things like this, that where it comes into problems is like, if you stop doing that stuff, the weight just comes right back. Like, you never really trained yourself into a system that's going to be sustainable, right?
Yep.
And it's singular factor thinking. Like, yeah, you lost weight, but that's not the only benefit of exercise. Exercise isn't just there to lose weight. It helps your heart stay healthy. It helps your joints stay healthy. It builds muscle. It builds mental fortitude. It's single factor thinking.
Yep.
I think humans are like infamous for this. I think hunters do it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, this is a constant everyday thing for me. Like, I don't have it all figured out. Not even close. Like, I walked into my office today and I'm like, dude, I haven't cleaned my office in 2 years, and it is a disaster. So
Same.
all of a sudden today, I'm not doing this. I'm not starting 2026 with a freaking cluttered office. So I spent, and I got another freaking 3 hours of work, I bet, in here. It's just a disaster. So it's just pick the one last thing I would say on diet specifically, because I do think I found something that's really cool, that's sustainable. There's an app called Cal AI, CALAI, and it's free. And you literally you'll use it for 2 weeks, and you'll train yourself what foods you need and what foods you don't. And it's all based on your weight and your age and your goals. And it really opened my eyes to, and what I learned is it wasn't that I was eating too much. In many regards, I wasn't eating enough. I just wasn't eating enough of the right stuff and too much of the wrong stuff, right?
Gotcha.
So like, when I started doing that, I'm never hungry, because I eat actually more food, I think. But it's like I've gone from eating more fat to more protein, right? So like, I can eat as much elk steak as I want until I'm blue in the gills.
Yeah.
But I can't sit and eat like, 7 bowls of pasta.
Yeah. Is it you take a photo of your food? Is that what it is? And it gives you all the breakdown of it? Is that the app?
You can take photos, or you can just search for it. I mean, most foods are already in there, but you can take photos, scan the barcode code. Dude, it takes 5 seconds. And then, like I said, I did it for about 6 months, and now I can pretty much do it without logging it at all. And I'm pretty close. I know that I need to get about 180 grams of protein. And I know to do that, I pretty much got to have at least one good strong protein shake a day, blah, blah, blah. It's the fat that is the hardest. Like, most days I don't even eat enough carbs. Like, I got to like find carbs to eat that are healthy. Bananas, and I'm not talking about like empty carbs. But even bread, like, sometimes I'm like, shoot, I need to eat a piece of bread. I need to have some peanut butter. It's the fat that I think we all overeat. Fat and carbs. It's just, I think people often say they eat too much. That might not be true. It's probably that you're not eating the right amount of things. And this is what my buddy Chewy, who I would recommend people follow, his name on Instagram's Chewy Macros. And he's become like Insta famous, and like, dude, the guy's gone from 0 to 500,000 followers in like a year and a half. Wow. But he has this whole system, and he does it all with Mexican food, which is my favorite food.
Oh yeah.
He gives you a bunch of recipes with Mexican food, and like all the measurements, the proteins, the carbs, the fats. But anyways, that changed the way I look at food anyway.
Sounds awesome. I'll have to give him a follow. I love Mexican food too, so that'd be right up my alley.
Yeah, dude. I have the book right over here next to me.
Right on. Well, good, man. I appreciate. I learned some things. I mean, it just basically, you reinforce some things. One of them being, I have fitness goals, but I haven't really put kind of that accountability portion to it. Other than like I'm just going to do it and be personally accountable. But I like the idea that
enter a race trail.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was just thinking. And I've done those in the past and they've worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why, I kind of fell off, in signing up for some of those. But as you were talking, that's exactly what I was thinking. It was like, I just need to sign back up for a trail run. And one of them I've been thinking about, my older brother, he's 50, hopefully he won't mind me saying this if he listens, I'm sorry, but he's 58. I saw, it was either yesterday or this morning, he went out in the rain and ran 13 miles. I remember having conversations with him within the last 2 years. I'd be like, "Oh, you should do a half marathon," because he'd never done one. And I remember him saying, "Oh, I couldn't do a half marathon. It's too far. It's too much." And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that you could." And now he runs one, I think, every Saturday, just on his own accord, and goes out and does it. But one of the goals that I'd kind of been thinking about was like, I would really like to do a half marathon or a marathon with my brother.
There you go.
And go do that. So that's something I need to sign up for to do. Maybe actually, as soon as we get off, I'll shoot him a message and find out.
Well, and that's the thing. That's where people stumble, and I do the same thing. It's like, I should do a half marathon. And then you put, like, you should just sign up. Don't even think through it. Just sign up. Be like, screw it. I'm doing it. And faster than you probably think you should. Because most of these things, man, like, you could probably go run a half marathon right now and be fine. Like,
I don't know. I did 5 miles yesterday, Dave, and I texted my wife and I was like, when did running become kind of hard again? Like, I remember I would clip off 5, no problem whatsoever. And I ran 5 yesterday and kind of struggled at it, but I was,
we're doing this new thing at the jiu-jitsu gym on Friday nights. We call it war class. Mm-hmm. And every time, like, I'm excited for it tonight, but I'm also dreading it because we do an hour straight of sparring with no breaks. And in between the 5-minute rounds, you have to do burpees. Oof. So you end up doing 10 5-minute rounds with burpees and push-ups and squats in between. And dude,
that sounds gnarly.
It's not something that I even thought I would be able to do. Mm-hmm. And you go in there and like halfway through it, you're like, oh my God, I can't make it through this. This is terrible. Yeah. But then you get through it and you're like, oh, I could totally do that. Yep. So I feel like most people don't even know what they're capable of. And in a shorter period of time than you think, like you can do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Getting into jiu-jitsu, was that intimidating?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I bet.
Every time, dude. I've been doing it for almost 3 years. It's still scary every time I drive there.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons I like it, is because
do something scary, right?
Yeah, well, it teaches you. There's all the physical and self-defense and all that stuff, but that's like secondary to me. Mm-hmm. It teaches you what to do with fear. Right. Like how do you handle fear? Like, I don't know about you, but like I really have learned a lot about myself and how I handle fear. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really magical when you develop a relationship with fear that's semi-comfortable and learn how to operate sitting next to it. Whereas before you may have ran from it or avoided it, or I've even found confrontation, whether that be at work or in relationships, to be easier because it's a similar type of fear. Like, I hate conflict.
Yep.
So, but yeah, man, it's totally intimidating. Yeah. When you're in your 40s, getting your ass kicked by 20-year-olds, dude.
Yeah.
But I think I've become a tougher person because of it.
For sure. I'd say that's really relatable to hunting, because even now, I mean, I've been hunting for a really long time. There's still situations or scenarios when I think about going into a new area or a new unit, and I'm like, oh, it would be good if I was up there on that hillside, before light, and if I just hiked in the dark. But there's this little thing in the back of your mind where it's like, man, I've never been there. You're a little bit intimidated. You're nervous about the environment. Maybe you're hunting in, Alaska or places where there's bigger predators than you, like a grizzly bear, and there is that fear, that there's that intimidation. And I talk to enough people, I know for a fact that, like, if you're looking to come from the Midwest or the East, like, just the sheer magnitude of the landscape and the mountains, it's there's fear built in.
Oh, for sure, dude. And that's like, again, the example of hiking in the dark. When I was in my teenage years, that used to scare the shit out of me. It took me a long time to get a comfortable relationship with that. I still don't have a comfortable relationship with it in grizzly bear country. I don't like it. It's
yeah.
But in non-grizzly bear country, I almost I am almost 100% relaxed hiking in the dark now. I didn't used to be. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was hiking out in the dark on an elk hunt. And I had like probably a good hour of hiking to my truck. And I was hiking along this creek. I actually have a video of this. And there was a cat laying under a log looking at me at like 15 yards. And I think it ended up being a bobcat, but at first I thought it was a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoo. It kind of was like, oh, there's things out here that can eat me. But I kind of almost forgot about it. I was kind of relaxed. I was off, like, just in oblivion, thinking about the day. It's like, there's a cat staring at me. And it kind of brought me back into reality. It's like, oh yeah, like things don't care about me or my family out here.
For sure.
But no, you're right. It's the same type of thing. And I found those scary things like that. Like I try not to run away from them anymore, and embrace it and figure out ways to help it make me, because you got to be tougher when you get older, raising kids.
Yeah.
Business stuff happens, like, I don't know, man, like this world's really hard. And so like Rogan always says it, but finding those, creating like healthy adversity, I think is what it is good, because when adversity comes that you didn't create, you deal with it maybe a little bit better. Maybe it's not perfect, Hey, Trey, I'm going to turn off my camera because my sucking my battery.
Oh, you're all right. Yeah, I think it translates too. I think it's interesting what you said, being scary going into a new experience, like joining a jiu-jitsu gym and just starting to do it. And then every time you go, there's this like fear, this intimidation. I think that translates over, like you said, into all parts of your life. And I think it would definitely translate directly over into hunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've had you for 50 minutes. I haven't even touched your elk hunt, so I want to dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I totally can hear you. Yeah, I got a visual of just your shoulders.
I know. I don't know why that went away.
That's okay. I want to hear about your elk hunt. Tell me about your elk hunt this year.
Yeah, dude. Well, I blew my 19 points in Oregon.
I didn't know that.
I did. Yeah. So,
Wow.
In Oregon, we have three, they call it the big three units that everybody wants to hunt. And it's Walla Walla, Winnahaw, Mount Emily. And please don't anybody tell me, oh, don't say those out loud. No, everybody knows. Everybody can look. It's the three best units in Oregon. And it's not like anybody can just draw.
Something went wrong. You're back.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Hello.
You're back.
This is my my camera on my laptop that doesn't suck as much battery.
Gotcha.
All right, are you recording?
Yep.
Okay.
Says it is.
Sorry for all the editing you're gonna have to do to this.
Oh, I don't have to do any of it, so we're free and clear.
Good.
Just turn it over to the editor.
Anyway, so I decided this year, my buddy drew this tag here 2 years ago and learned a lot about the unit. And so I had my cousin back up a little bit. So in 2024, we could have put in for this tag. So I was going to put in for it with my cousin, but he ended up having a bad heart attack and having to get quintuple bypass surgery, like right before the season, or right before this all happened. So anyways, long story short, ended up putting in with my cousin this year. He's healthy again and got the tag. And yeah, man, it was it's a unit, you know, in Oregon, we have big bulls, but it's not like they're around every tree. Even in the great units, you know, everybody, you know, I'm sure you've never heard anybody in this industry exaggerate trail, have you?
Never. Or myself, for that matter.
Everybody,
I'm sure I have as well.
I did a lot of talking before I got it. I'm like, hey, what should I expect? Oh, you know, don't even put an arrow on unless it's 350 or above, and all these things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? So, anyways, I didn't have a chance to go over there and scout because it's not even worth really scouting. It's pretty thick country. Like, you're not gonna, and the bulls change areas anyway. So, yeah, man, I spent 17 days, I think, there.
Oh wow!
And
is that the most points you've ever burned on a hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never burned that many points on an elk hunt. I burned them. The most I ever burned was on a mountain goat, which was 18. But 19's a lot.
It is. It is. I wanted to, you know, now's the time to do it. And I kind of got reacquainted 2 years ago with a unit, an over-the-counter unit, basically for me, that I used to hunt. And I went there a couple years ago and killed a nice bull, and I really fell back in love with it. So I kind of wanted to get these points out of the way so I could keep going back to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, like the unit itself, 75-80% of it is extremely steep, very rugged. Some of the most actually, it is the most rugged elk country I've ever hunted in. Including Montana and Idaho and anywhere else. Like it's gnarly, and you better have your shit together on how you're going to get that thing out of there. Otherwise, you have no business going into some of those places. But there's portions of it that are more traditional elk country. And I really wanted to camp with my cousin. And since he had his heart attack, he really couldn't hunt any of that real big steep stuff. So I actually ended up, taking my travel trailer over there and just day hunting out of that in the quarter of the unit that's actually fairly accessible.
Gotcha.
And it's still amazing. Like, I did hunts, the steep stuff. I did day hunts out there and stuff, and I had a lot of fun. But I ended up spending actually found some great bulls in that more manageable country, and spent almost all my time in there.
17 days. Is that what you said?
Well, I killed on day 9 or 10, but I stayed an extra week and helped my cousin. So
he had a tag as well?
He did. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Did he tag out?
He did not. No, he ended up missing a nice bull. And getting, man, we came so close so many times. You know, he's never killed a bull with his bow. And so, but man, we had so many awesome encounters. It just couldn't quite make it happen. You know, in that country, it's thick, and those bulls are not stupid. I don't care what anybody said. You know, because in Oregon, they also give away a lot of spike tags, and a lot of the spike hunters are just in those units, just calling to the big bulls and having fun.
For sure.
And so
we have the same experience here. I mean, the limited entry tags I've had here in Utah, every time I draw one, I think, oh, this is going to be, even though I know it's not going to be, but I always think, oh, this is going to be a slam dunk. And then you get out there and you've got over the counter spike elk hunters on top of you for, 3 weeks of the hunt. You have general season archery deer hunters out there. You got sheep herders, and you got recreationists and backpackers and hikers, and it usually takes me about 2 or 3 days to go, oh yeah, this is like any other elk hunt ever.
Yeah, that's what I found out very quickly. And I've also found out very quickly that the 350 bulls around every tree, that's not true.
Sure.
I saw I think one bull in that I thought was over 350. Like, being real, I saw a lot of like Instagram 350s, right? That were like 330 or something like that. Not a lot, not even a lot, actually, to be honest with you. But most of the bulls, every day, you're hunting multiple 300 plus bulls, which, being realistic, that's fun. That's just fun. Right. Dude. Every time I got out of the truck, I could pretty much hear a 300-inch bull bugling. And within a couple square miles, there's probably a 330, maybe a 350, maybe. There was one specific one that I know was there almost every day that I almost got a shot at. He was the bull that I was hunting most of the time. But, and I held out. I passed. I mean, shoot, the first day I passed a beautiful 310, 315, 6 point.
Really?
Oh, it was actually one of the best opportunities I got the entire time. And but I was like, oh no, that's too quick. Like it was literally right after daylight, first day, first spot I tried, just walked out of the truck. Oh, there's a screamer. Got in there. But anyways, long story short, I ended up go ahead.
What was your rut like? Was it good?
Yes, but you got to
Really?
realize like this is like the magic unit. So I have
Sure,
I
no,
don't know how real units were, but
Yeah.
the rut. But I would say it didn't get great until like when did I kill my bull? Like I think I killed it on the 16th or 17th, something like that.
Okay, gotcha.
It didn't get great until probably about the 12th, 13th. I had bugling before that, but
Yeah.
it was, you know how it is. It's kind of like they shut up by 8 o'clock and hide and they don't want to come in. Now, I decided before this hunt that I was not going to spend a lot of time trying to call anything in. I was just using my calls to locate bulls, and then I was just basically spot and stock. I've just found that to be a better strategy, trying to kill big bulls. And so I did not call in one elk because I didn't even try.
Really?
Maybe spikes and stuff like that. That's not true. I called in some raghorns and spikes, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
bulls that I want to kill. I did not ever. I had 1, 2. So I did miss 2 bulls. The first one I hit a limb. I have no idea, dude. It was like 15 yards, shooting through the hole about the size of a basketball. But there just must have been a limb I didn't see, and it deflected my arrow below him.
Right.
And then actually the same bull about 4 days later, I just clean missed at 50 yards. I have no
same bull twice.
Same bull twice. Yeah.
That's not the bull that you killed. It's not the same bull that you killed eventually, right?
No, he wasn't. I actually got tired of hunting him. No,
That's funny.
Yeah, we developed a relationship with that bull, and I'm like, you know what, dude, I am tired of you.
Yeah, that goes one of two ways. You're like, you know what, this one is not meant to be. This guy has a force field around him, or two, like this is a personal vendetta. He and I are gonna take it to the very last day.
No, what ended up happening is I hunted by myself for the first whatever. I guess it would have been 8 days.
Oh, wow.
My dad came along for a couple days, but for the most part, I hunted by myself. And my lifelong hunting buddy, Brent, who's an amazing elk hunter, and he had the tag the year before. He ended up coming on day 9, and we decided he's a really good caller. And I said, hey, I don't want to call any of these medium bulls in, but if you could just stay. We've hunted our whole lives together, so we hunt really well together. I say, dude, if you could just hang back and keep them talking, so I can get in there. That's our strategy. And the first evening we got into some elk, but not much happened. But actually the first morning we hunted together is when we ended up killing that bull. And it's an awesome story. Like,
yeah, I want to hear.
When I hunted, actually, this is what I do all the time now, is like, I'm locating in the dark, like at least an hour, sometimes even an hour and a half before daylight. I'm out locating, trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing, because I don't like wasting a bunch of time if I can't hear anything or if there's nothing in the basin. But anyways, this bull, there's a place where you can get up and you can listen in a huge basin. We got up there like an hour and a half before daylight and just sat there and listened. And I heard a faint scream, and I thought I could pinpoint it with my ears. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got on Onyx, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's probably right there. So I marked it, but then I kind of forgot about it, and we made a huge circle down and got into this basin. Like I said, it's probably 3 or 4 miles long and probably a mile wide. It's a pretty big basin at daylight. And when we got down there, there's zero crickets, and it was like a perfect morning, dude. Like some frost, a little dew, and there was no bulls bugling. I'm like, I know I heard one, dude. I know it. And I could see on the map where I thought I heard it. It was like a mile from us. So we just kind of made our way up there, and nothing. And we got to where I thought he was. And my buddy Brent, like I said, he's a great caller. And I'm like, dude, just spend some time just trying to get something to talk. So he's doing his routine, bugling, cow calling, whatever. Then finally, right above us, just like he couldn't have been 100 yards from us.
Wow.
And but he wasn't coming.
I love that.
Yeah, I did too. I'm like, I knew you were here. And it was literally like right by my pin. But he got really vocal. The problem was he started pushing his cows away, which is what they do there. Mm-hmm. And so I go into my routine where I'm basically just trying to cut them off when they stop, because those bulls, they'll push, but then they'll stop, hang up, maybe they hook a tree or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that. The problem was he went into a really brushy little basin with like those jack pines that are really close together, and I got in there, and my buddy was 100 yards back behind me, kept him talking. And I mean, I had cows within 20 yards of me. I was having to stand up on like logs to see barely any hair on these cows, but I could hear him and I could see where he was, but I could not see him, dude. It was really thick. And it was like that for at least an hour. Like he'd move, I'd move, he'd move, I'd move. And there was a couple times I had cows at 15 yards, I couldn't have shot them, but you could see them.
Sure.
And then finally we got to a spot where it was like, I could not move anymore being quiet. There was no way. It was only like, I could only move with noise, and it was, and they could totally hear me, but they couldn't quite figure out what I was. Mm-hmm. So I ended up getting on my hands and knees in this brush, and it got worse. It was like elderberries, and and I just started, like, every time he would talk and make a little noise and move, I would move like 5 yards on my hands and knees. Find little bare spots in the dirt where I could make less noise. My buddy just kept calling and we and finally that bull decided that by now it's like 2 hours later, and it's kind of the sun's coming up, and they decide they're gonna kind of stay in one place for a little bit, but it's like super duper brushy. But I found this old logging road that I was able to get in, and it had this little ditch in it, like where the water runs, and it was dirt. And I was able to use that to make like 100 yards up. And I got in there within 40 yards of the herd. I could hear him right above me in the brush. And then there's this little tiny elk trail up to where I could gain another 10 yards that I could get on my belly and slide up in there. And I slid up in there, and I basically, dude, my shooting lane is like 5 feet. Like I can't see. I have one lane in front of me. And I can see the tag alders. Not, by the way, it's not elderberries, it's tag alders. I can see the tag alders in front of me. I could hear his horns hitting them. And pretty soon, these two cows walk, within 15 feet of me, and they go over like 10 yards to my left and lay down. And I'm screwed, because one of them's laying towards me, and I could hear him. He's like 40 yards up the hill, and I could see the tag alders moving, and he's bugling and grunting and glunking. And
are you on your knees, or are you laying there on your belly?
I'm on my knees at this point, and I'm kind of screwed. I'm screwed. First of all, the wind is kind of swirly. I can't believe they're not smelling me. But I'm like, well, if he goes the same way the cows do, I'll have like a 6 or 7 yard frontal. So I'm just going to chill and see what happens. Most likely this is the game over. I think they're going to smell me. And pretty soon I hear him, like, I can see the tag alders coming in front of me. And, but instead of coming down that same trail, he turns and he goes and grabs those cows, but there's no shot. I could just see his legs. Grabs the cows and just beelines it down the mountain, not running, bugling, glunking, just a change of plans, basically.
Yep.
And I'm like, shit. Well, but also probably better, because there's not great shooting lanes here.
Sure.
And so I just kind of sat there and I let him kind of work his way down the mountain. And he probably went like 300 yards and just started screaming again. So I'm like, okay, the game's still on, but we need to reconfigure here. And where he went is way better country. It's open timber. So where I could tell he went out of the brush. So I kind of went down and I found my buddy, and I'm like, hey, like, it was probably 10 by this point. I'm like, should we make another move? What should we do? And it's like one of those things where, like, he's getting fainter. Yeah, and you're like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I know where he's going, but like, should we just wait till this evening or this afternoon? Maybe not pressure him. By the way, at this point, I don't even know how big this bull is. I don't know what he is, but I'm kind of at the point in my hunt that I can kind of tell by the sound that it's a mature bull, and I'm going to shoot this unit. Cows. Yeah. Well, in this unit, you don't have much time, man. It's really brushy. You're not like examining bulls with a spotting scope.
Sure.
you're making decisions in split seconds.
Yep.
And usually it's like a tine coming through the brush, and it's like, do you shoot or not shoot? Anybody who says I'm waiting for a 345 or better, it's like, I don't know how you're doing that where I was. Like you're shooting mature bull in the brush, you know?
Yep.
And so anyways, we sit on this log and that bull just keeps cranking, but he keeps getting a little further away, but he's getting much better and better and better and better country, and also getting closer and closer and closer to the road.
There you go. That helps.
So I'm like, man, let's just try one more time. Let's just try one more time. Let's go down there. Let's get above him. If it's bad, we'll back out. So we start walking down there, and it's one of those things where he was off this knob to where he sounded really faint. He's one of those things where we didn't know at the time, but he sounded much further away than he actually was. And we also didn't know it at the time. What he did is he took his cows down to a wallow. Yeah. So we're going down the ridge he went down. We're just kind of making our way through this blowdown. And he sounds like he's like 400 yards away. So we feel pretty safe, right?
Yep.
And starting about right now in the story, I have this on video. We're just kind of meandering, and I'm kind of in my own head thinking, okay, that was fun, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you're not really in the red zone yet. So you're kind of just making your way through country. And all of a sudden, just right below us, coming back up the way they came. And now we have the wind in our favor because they're coming uphill, and the wind had already switched. And it was just one of those moments where you're in the perfect spot for no reason at all.
Just happened.
Yep. And right at that second where he growled, I had just enough time to get an arrow out, and the first cow pops out 30 yards in front of me. And he's pushing his cows on a trail right in front of me, just one at a time.
Oh, man. That's the best.
I know. I'm like, oh, yeah. And he pops out at like 40, but there's no shot whatsoever. And I'm kind of in an awkward spot. Plus, there's cows that have seen me at this point. But for some reason, dude, they look at me and they're like, and then they just, I think he was just pressuring them too much.
Yep.
And they keep filtering. And he comes around a tree. I think I ranged the cows at 37. And I know he's going to pop out in the same general area. So I draw, and he comes around the tree, but I have and I stop him, but I have nothing. I have no shot, but his butt and his antlers.
Oh,
he just happened to stop in a bad spot.
Yep.
But dude, and I'll send you this video. He lets me like get lower, take like 5 steps back, readjust, and he just keeps standing there.
Is he looking at you?
Yeah.
Or is he watching? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's looking right at me.
Yeah.
And I got
it happens.
I kind of like came down like this, and I was able to. I mean, I remember my pin was like you could have put a tack in my pin into his lungs. Like it was like just one of those moments. It's not always like that, where I wasn't shaking, I wasn't jumping around. It was just right there, and I pulled through my hinge release, and perfect. And I saw the arrow, like the helicals, just go.
Oh man!
Just right there and pop. But he runs down the hill, and you know how it is. You're like, I turned to my buddy, and he's like, "Did you?" And I'm like, you'll see it in the video. I'm like, I think so. Like, it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. And then we listen, and we think we heard him roll. But you always think, I don't know. I've thought all these things a million times.
For sure.
And I
know exactly what you're saying right now. And I mean, exactly. You're like, I know I heard him go down, but did I really hear him go down?
Or was that just elk running?
Yeah. I know. Oh man, I know this feeling so well.
So I've at this point in my life, I try not to get too pumped up, because people saw that video. They're like, dude, how are you? Like, you weren't even excited. It's like, I'm like, it's not that. It's that I've been doing this now for 40 years, and I know how quickly like things go bad, dude. I don't care who you are. Anyways, so we sat down, we ate a granola bar and drank some water, and we sat for like 30 minutes. And we walked down there, and there's no blood. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
Of course. Like I see all these Instagram stories. Oh yeah, there was like, they painted the trees, and it's like, I don't know, for some reason that never happens to me, Trail. But
that's hard too. because it messes with your head because you're like, I know what I saw, I know how I felt,
Yep.
and I can't find the evidence of it. That's why it's gotten to the point where with people, I had a buddy this year that shot a buck, and he called me up. It was late at night, and we were kind of working through it, and I'm like, what are the signs? What are the evidence? We're talking about the shot, and I kept telling him, and this is kind of like something I've learned. I was asking him, like, what was your gut feeling, like at the shot? How did you feel? And I've almost found that it's pretty reliable, like how you feel on the shot, like that immediate reaction. It's almost always right. Like if you almost always know, like if you've got some hesitancy, if you've got kind of a little bit of a pit in your stomach and you think about it, there's probably something to it. And on the reverse side of it, if you executed a shot and it's just dead X 12 ring dim, like you almost always know.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to be honest with yourself and don't try to trick yourself. Because it goes both ways. If you know you pulled it into his guts, you might have pulled it into his guts.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to sit down and like take a little breather, take a break, and get real with yourself and be like, how did I actually feel? And you almost always know. I do, at least.
We talked about it a couple years ago, but this bull right over there, that Roosevelt that I shot a couple years ago, that big one. It was the same thing. It took me an hour. I couldn't find my arrow. I couldn't find any blood. It took me an hour to find a drop of blood like the size of a tack. And once I found that, I quickly recovered him. But I went through an hour of misery of like, dude, I know where my pin was. The elk is 1,000 pounds. It's 30 yards. Anyways, so we're, at this point, we're just circling around where he was standing. But my buddy's like, well, I'll follow his tracks were very clear. It was like pretty much bare dirt. And anyways, 10 yards down the hill. Actually, you see this arrow back here on the antlers? That piece of that arrow was laying there like 10 yards down the hill. But again, it was broke off like, it's like 10 inches, the veins and a few inches or whatever. But there's like a little bit of blood on the end of it, but it looked, there's like, people are always saying, oh, it's lung blood, it's lung blood, it's lung blood. And I think oftentimes people mistake regular blood for lung blood. That's been my experience. But like there is a distinct look to like body cavity blood that's different. That's different than like meat blood or gut blood. And at the end of this arrow was clear body cavity blood. Like it was so that, and also what I saw in my mind, I'm like, he's dead. But still you're like, but what if I hit him in the shoulder or whatever?
Sure.
So anyways, we start blood trail on him and it's just, it gets better, a little better. And we come over this little rise and he was laying upside down in the creek. Like, and the elk in this unit, the elk in this unit are ginormous. They're bigger than Roosevelt's.
Yeah.
The body on, oh man, dude, the body on this bull was like nothing I'd ever seen in my life. It was crazy. A lot of people throw around numbers. I don't want to do that, but it was close to 900 pounds based on what the butcher told me. And if you look at the pictures, and I'll send you the video, you can make the determination yourself. It was just a big bull, bigger than any Roosevelt bull I've killed.
Yikes.
Anyways, he was laying upside.
Is he 4 feet in the air in the creek? Like is he laying there in the bottom of the creek?
Literally, his legs were sticking straight up in the air. It was a dry creek bed. It was a dry creek bed, but his legs were. He had rolled down there and kind of lodged. And gotcha. I'll send you the video. But anyways, the shot was perfect, double lung, perfect, right in the center. And cool. I mean, we definitely did hear him fall. But he ended up being just a really old. I sent the teeth in to get aged. I haven't got it back yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing how old he was because he's just big Roman nose, worn down teeth. His antlers are like, you can tell they're regressed. He's got, his tines are short, but everything's super heavy. Yep. So he doesn't score. I mean, he's just over 300 score wise, but he's a big old herd bull, which is what I wanted. I just wanted a big old. I like big mature elk. Sometimes they score a lot and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. The other thing about that, like as you're describing it, and we've talked about it, there's like there's a trophy, I put it in quotations, but a trophy in the experience of executing a perfect arrow. Like, and as you were talking and you were saying, I watched the helical, of the vanes of that arrow in flight as it's rotating and going towards the spot that I intended to hit. That feeling, and I've done it a few times. I haven't always done it. But that feeling of like executing a perfect shot, watching your arrow through the entire flight and watching it hit where you intended, it's as satisfying. It's more satisfying than any number of inches, in my opinion. Like it's
100%, dude.
I would rather have that experience on an animal, than execute a shot that I wasn't completely sure about. I didn't know exactly what happened, and then have it be. It just feels different.
I killed an antelope in August. I killed an antelope in August, and I had to shoot it a couple times, and I hated it. Mm-hmm. I hate that.
Yeah,
I felt so bad. I'm like, dude, you are better than this. And it wasn't that my first shot was even that bad. He jumped the string really bad, and it caught him high. Mm-hmm. And I had to walk out there and shoot the dang thing again. And I hate doing that. Like, so when you make that perfect shot, dude, the perfect shot in my mind is actually in some ways a better trophy than antlers. Like,
I agree.
I remember those because they don't, like you said, they don't always come. I remember almost every time I've done that in my entire life. I remember that. And you have this sense of pride. Like I was able to perform under pressure. And what I told you, it felt like my pin was glued to him. I shot a blacktail in November at 10 yards. And I had to like really work to keep my pin where I wanted it. Like it just wasn't glued. It wasn't, I made a great shot, but it was a close shot. Right. Yep. It's not. And on that antelope in August, I was shaky, man. Like we filmed that too. Like I was shaking. I was nervous. I was really, it just wasn't there. But on that bull, I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, I don't know if like God intervened and just held my bow solid. But it was just like, this arrow is not going to miss.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm chasing. I mean, I killed a bull here in November in Arizona, and I ended up having to shoot him, multiple times. And it was, I'm grateful for him, but the same, like I look back on that as I go forward, what I'm extrapolating from those past experiences is like, I want that perfect arrow. Like to me, that is the trophy. Like I want that experience. I want the feeling of executing under pressure and that satisfaction that I did the thing that I intended out to do as well as I could possibly do it. So I totally
clean.
Get that. And
you come away feeling clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, man. That's awesome. That's an awesome. And you got to you had your dad there, right? And your buddy?
Well, my dad had left that morning.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I had my best elk hunting buddy and my cousin, and it was a great experience, man. People have messaged me since that have points and want, they want to know how it was. And I had a couple people message me, I don't know why you'd shoot that bull in that unit and blah, blah, blah.
No.
But oh yeah, dude, there's always those guys.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't think they were trying to be a dicks, but they're like, I thought, I thought we're, if I get that, I want to wait for a 350. I'm like, well, here's the deal, and this is what I tell anybody in any of those units is you can, and I did. I almost got a shot at I think it was a 7x8, which I would classify as right around 350. I have a video of him, but I had a guy camped next to me that was there all 30 days. And he passed up 320s, 310s, and I had a conversation with him after the season, and he regrets it because he didn't kill one.
Sure.
And he's like, man, I kind of wish I would have just shot one, because he said it just kind of got harder. And then you think, oh, I got all month. And then it's like, well, yeah, you do, but it's still elk hunting and you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, if you're willing to walk away with a tag in your pocket, that's one thing, and that's up to you. But if you really want to kill a big one in those units, in my opinion, you should probably just get the rifle tag and hunt them on those open slopes with late season with a good rifle. You will, in that case, you should wait. But in archery season, dude, you can't even see them half the time. Like you're hunting, like most days, there wasn't very many days I even saw that many elk. I heard a lot of elk, and I was always around elk, but you don't see them.
Yeah.
So you don't even know what bullet.
Yeah, it's a split-second decision, and it's like yay or nay. You know, he looks
Yeah,
like a mature bull, and you execute,
and
or you
something like
don't.
as the season progressed, those basins, there's 6, 7 mature bulls bugling in a basin. You don't know
Sure.
which one's which,
No.
and oftentimes you can't even choose anyway because you pretty much have the wind does what it does. So it's like if there's a bull bugling over here with good wind and 2 over here with bad wind, you're going to go hunt the bull with good wind, and you don't know by lottery of chance which bull that is. So even after I found that big bull that I told you about, I don't know where he is every day. I mean, I think I know the area, like within a square mile, but shoot, there's 20 bulls bugling in that square mile. And and some days he would cross over into the unit next door, so I can't even hunt him. And so like I had these fantasies of finding a bull and targeting them there, but I think in more open country you can get away with stuff like that. But in that unit, I don't think there's a lot of targeting. I just don't.
I think in general, I think even in Utah where we've got some open country, and I've told people, because I've had 3 limited entry elk tags in Utah. And I tell people, if you really want to target a bull, your best chance is like the first week, 2 weeks of August, like when that hunt opens up in August, because above and beyond that, they just move. I think targeting and killing a bull, a specific bull with your bow, especially when they're rutting, is probably the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
It's way easier to, I mean, a mule deer, you can find a big mule deer and you can target that mule deer and you can hunt him day in and day out. Most days you can find him, on the archery hunt. But elk, man, they just, whether it's because of the terrain and the vegetation or it's just because they move, they're dang hard to hunt. A specific bull. Oh man, they move.
Yeah. I remember there was one day I was there. I was walking down the road and a guy drove by, a spike hunter, and he's like, "Hey, I don't know about, do you have a big bull tag?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I just saw this bull in this basin this morning." He showed me a video of it. I'm like, "Yeah, I almost killed that bull a couple days ago, 2 miles from there."
Crazy.
So I'm like, he's all the way down there now? I'm like, God, I'm never going to find that damn thing,
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where you just enjoy the fact that every time you get out of the truck, for the most part. Now, I will say there was at least 2 or 3 days where there wasn't anything going on. You would have thought that aliens sucked every elk off the face of the planet. But most days you're getting out and hunting 300 to 330 bulls. And
sure,
there's not a lot of places in the West you can do that anymore. Unless you're a billionaire and you have a huge ranch. I'm talking about on public land with an accessible tag. There's just not a lot of places you can do that. And so, I really enjoyed it.
I was thrilled for you, man. I'm stoked for you. It sounded, I wanted to get a chance to hear how it went, and it's just cool. Anytime that you get a chance to get out and hunt elk and hunt hard and like you're saying, see bulls that are quality bulls. I would say a 300-inch bull is a quality bull. And then, above and beyond, man, I'm addicted to that and I'm chasing it because I don't always do it, but like executing a perfect shot and getting a perfect kill, to me, that is like the trophy.
I totally agree.
Awesome. Congrats on that.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate it. I love elk hunting. I always have. And this year I'm going to be in my over-the-counter Suckfest unit. And it's going to be awesome.
Back at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling me, Dave. I've had you for an hour and a half, so I don't want to take your entire day, so I'll cut you loose. But I appreciate talking to you. I know that every time I get a chance to sit down with you one-on-one, we're going to have a good conversation. I'm going to walk away from it with some food for thought and feel a little bit more motivated to work a little bit harder, be a little bit better. And then I always just like talking elk hunting, so I appreciate telling the story. So thanks for your time.
I want to hear it when I see you here in a few weeks at Expo. I want to hear about your elk season.
It was a bit of a cluster. So to put it mildly, but we'll catch up when I see you in Salt Lake and I can run you through.
Yeah, let's do it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Good. Yeah, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day and Happy New Year.
You too.